Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tank12, however you call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks. Today, in this video, we're going to go through my 3-marking journey on the Super Pershing. I just finished 3-marking this vehicle. I've played a handful of games. You can see right here, it's 10 games, 5 wins, 5 losses, and I managed to 3-mark this tank. And I wanted to show you guys like the few games, the last 4 games before I 3-marked this vehicle, because there were a lot of things that were happening in that moment in time, and I think the final game really is a great display of what you can do and how you can achieve it, and it was a great game with a great result, and I just wanted to show you guys my journey when I'm 3-marking vehicles. So I'm going to go through what I think of, I'm going to talk about why I do the things I do, and hopefully it shows you guys some pretty cool gameplays and at the same time also some practicality when you're trying to 3-mark, because you're trying to max out the damage every single game, and sometimes that cannot work over like several games at once. But without further ado, let's jump into the games. The final game, you want to watch the final game. The final game is really good. I don't want to, this is not just clickbait. The final game is really the game you want to see. But it's the final one. First, we're going to start with the first one. It's actually 5 games, not 4. But, bear with me. There's some good games in there, and I'm going to try to give you some of my thoughts and my reasoning behind what I'm doing when I'm playing the Super Pershing, when I'm trying to 3-mark a tank. So first and foremost, equipment choice is really important. You want to have your vehicle fully maxed out. Before you start your 3-marking journey, you want to have a tank that is competitive. That means you gotta need the right equipment. You gotta have a good trained crew. You gotta use premium consumables and premium ammunition. That's all going to help you in your journey when you're trying to 3-mark a vehicle. For me personally, this is the only time where I do use a lot of gold shells. Other than that, I rarely use gold shells on my premium tanks because I'm trying to earn credits, but that's just where I actually draw the line. So at this moment in time, in this game, I'm at 94.5% in marks of excellency. I think you need something along the lines of 2,600 damage per game to get 95%. And right here, we are playing on fjords. Now, one thing that is really, really essential when you're trying to mark a vehicle and you want to 3-mark it is that you need to have the right positioning. The issue is matchmaking is going to be a whole wild card. You don't know who you're going up against. You don't know how well your teammates are. You don't know what the map is going to be. You don't know what tier it's going to be. It might be tier 9 in this case because it can be, the highest tier since this is preferential matchmaking. RNG might not be on your side. There are a lot of things that come together. Now, we're playing on fjords, and the very first thing here is I really wanted to do damage and drive myself forward, get into a position where I can be aggressive. But it turns out this was a bad choice. Why was it a bad choice? Look at where all of my teammates are on the map. Nobody is here to help me. I'm fighting against 3 tanks. I already got knocked over by the BZ-176. This AMBT put 1 shell into me. But we got really lucky because we got actually the IS-6 on fire, and because of that, we got like an additional 642 damage, which is which would be 3 shots combined that we would have to put into a target. So right now, you can already sense this is not going to be the game where I'm going to be able to unlock the 95th percentile, because right here you can see I get knocked out with 2,290 damage, and I get really upset. But not at my teammates, but at myself, because the very important thing is when you are 3-marking a tank, keep in mind you are 3-marking the vehicle for yourself. The enemy players don't know it, your team doesn't know it, and they don't care. That is really important. So that means you have to know exactly where you're going and how much support you want to have with you. You don't want to go to a place where you don't have any support like I did, because then you're going to get overwhelmed. You might get most of the damage, but you're going to get knocked out fairly early. And you don't want that, because you want to have, a stream of damage that comes in. My team here is now going to get absolutely obliterated because they didn't play the middle. They're going to get flanked from the A line, and all of the heavy tanks down in the south are just bogged down, and it doesn't matter if the T832 is now coming in to help us. Game is lost. it's over. We did 2,300 damage first. Personally, that means we're not going to move up, we're not going to move down. It's going to stay right where it is, so it's basically a game that I didn't play. In the end, it's a game that I lost. I don't like losing, but that's just the way it is. So that was my first game, right? I got really lucky that I set the IS-6 on fire, but other than that, you know, I want to move forward. I don't want to move backwards. I don't want to stay in the same place. I want to move forward. I want to have my momentum, the good games that I had prior, and I want to take that over. So I'm going to switch over to the next game where we can talk a little bit about the assistance damage and how important assistance damage is in the, well, in the general terms when you're trying to 3-mark a vehicle. Second game out of 5. You can see perfect matchup, some tier 9s, but mostly tier 8s, and this is a moment in time where the map is really gonna matter where you go. We're playing a Super Pershing. That's a medium tank with the mobility of a medium tank, but with the armor of a heavy tank. And what you want to do in this scenario when you're playing against tier 9s is you don't want to be too aggressive, but you also don't want to hold back too much. When you're spotting things as well, the chances are pretty high that somebody is going to shoot what you spot. And that assistance damage is probably going to be 1/3 of the entire damage you're going to get. And that 1/3 of the damage is really, really essential. Because a lot of the times, you're not going to be able to do enough damage in like one sitting to get like the marks of excellence alone. Because you cannot play too aggressive, there are too many vehicles, you don't have enough support, you have too much support. There are a lot of factors that are coming into play, right? So we got lucky, we hit a Progetto 46, we do a little bit of damage, so this is a good start for us. But since we have a really, really tough turret, I'm just trying to see if I can spot anything trying to cross over here. And we actually spot the Primo Victoria, but it's not worth it. Why is it not worth it? Because we take a massive hit by a SU-130 PM who loads a heat shell and just goes right through our turret. Sadly for us, that means we lose 1/3 of our HP. That SU-130 PM is going to be a really important adversary in this match because he's going to be the death of me in the end. And it's really essential that, especially at the beginning of the match, you value your HP. The urge to do damage and that you really want to take part and you want to be active because you're scared that you might not do enough damage in the end, it can really ruin your games. And it can be one of the worst things that happens to you when you're 3-marking your vehicle. 3-marking vehicles is the best feeling and also one of the most frustrating feelings of all. So right here you can see we take out the Primo Victoria, 685 damage, 307 assisted in the first 2 minutes of the game with this Super Pershing. That's not all too bad. We lost about 1/3 of our HP, but as long as we stay hidden, we play cautiously, it should be alright. I knock over a tree, I immediately get punished for that by another shot from the SU-130 PM. That player is very, very good in the SU-130 PM. He actually looked into here and he knew that somebody knocked down a tree over here. He just waited for the second tree to fall and then he knocked me once again with a heat shell. Sadly, that makes me now a one-shot for him, and now I'm on 1/3 of my HP. This is a really bad scenario because now we have 12 minutes remaining, a lot of enemies, and we cannot tank rounds unless we can trust our armor completely, or, you know, there's no way around it because we need to do damage. And now the 900 damage we've done so far sounds like it's a really, really bad deal because the chances of me doing more damage with this amount of HP really reduces my chances of 3-marking a vehicle or, you know, getting forward in this scenario. So in this moment in time, my thought process is I want to not lose any more HP and I want to just do the maximum amount of damage I can without dying in this match. I only want to die if I can spot the several vehicles that my friends can shoot, and if that happens, I'm going to be fine with it because I'm going to get the assistance damage. But that means I need to play really cautiously and I need to play very passively. That's something I really dislike, because I'm a very aggressive player. I'm in your face. I want to win the game. I want to be the one who wins the game by being an active participant in a match. And then I don't want to be the player who waits and waits and waits and lets all of the other guys do their job before I start, like, you know, just picking off targets one by one after, you know, my team has done most of the work. But generally speaking, sadly, sometimes that's the way you have to play when you're free marking things. So right here you can see our WZ 111 next to us. He gets knocked by the SC-130PM. He made the same mistake as us. He fired at the AMX 13, no, the ELC even 90, didn't hit him, got lit up, got spotted by the ELC because he fired, lost his camo, and then he got like absolutely obliterated by the SC-130PM over there. So yeah, having lost all of that HP means we are not able to really play aggressively in our role. We are not going to be able to push anything by ourselves. We really have to rely on our armor even more, and it just makes everything more difficult. So, you know, keep in mind, another tip, don't lose too much HP at the beginning of the match. Always be conservative with your HP. And that spotting damage is really important. So if you can do it, that's why like a lot of players are running like Cola and the premium consumables. It gives you plus 10% on all crew skills. This is really essential. It's going to give you better camouflage rating. It's going to give you better spotting, all of those things. So you can see now the other side of my team has actually cleaned up really well. They knocked out several tanks and they freed up an entire flank, and the enemies are now all squished into that little box down in the south. And because I need to do more damage, and it doesn't matter if I die now or not, if I don't do the damage, I'm gonna lose my percentage, right? So it's gonna fall down by probably 0.5. So I need to at least do 2,000, a bit more than 2,000. 2,200 would be ideal to even stay on top, to stay still at the 94.5%. And ideally, I can spot some targets for all of these tanks to shoot at. Now, that's why I take this really dangerous and risky route right through the middle. I try to hug this wall because I know that the tank destroyers are sitting up there. And I want to just spot these guys and be a little bit of a nuisance so that when my team pushes in, I can, you know, pick off some of the targets and do some damage. Because I am really in desperate need of damage. Because if I don't do it, well, free marking is not going to help me at all. So unfortunately, because you're in a stress situation or in a situation where you're under pressure, you're going to make mistakes. And this is the very important thing, where you learn not to do like the crazy mistakes, but just to do little mistakes. Because even little mistakes can hurt you, but big mistakes where you push out and you don't think about it, you just have the damage numbers in front of your head, that's going to really hurt you in the long run. So right here you can see they really dislike the fact that I'm in their face, and this is also going to be happening. People will just rush you because they want to do damage and they know the game is lost. So this Pregato 46 actually allowed us to do 320 damage just by him ramming us, and at the same time also shooting him, killing him in that moment. But unfortunately, once again, the SU-130PM is my downfall. This is the tank that took most of my HP away from me. And if I wouldn't have gotten hit with that hidden shot, I would have still be alive in this moment. And I could have probably done damage to the 122 TM, or I could have even spotted the SU-130PM. Because he's sitting right in that bush over there. I'm going to show you guys real fast. Actually, because I'm dead, I cannot go into free cam. But he's sitting right in that bush there, and I cannot spot him. So basically, we're now even again. We're at 2,400 damage, and it didn't go up, it didn't move down, it stayed at 94.5%. And you can see that's why the assistance damage is so important, because I almost had like 800 assistance damage, and that 800 assistance damage allowed me to stay even. And if I would have done 2 or 3 shots more of damage, which would have gotten me to 2,300, all of a sudden we do 3,000 damage combined, and we're able to move maybe 0.2%. So let's move on to the next game and see how we did there. And there's one more game, no, 2 more games after that. After that game, we are now on a map that is really small. It's Ensk. It's one of the smallest maps in the game, and you know that when you're in a matchup like this and you're a Super Pershing, You can either go into the city, where you're going to be faring quite okay because of your additional armor, or you can go to the tracks, into the field over here. Because I have the armor, I think I'm going to be in a really good position on the field. As long as I can, get the drop on these guys, I'm just going to be free roaming here, and I hope that I can do as much damage and get as much assistance as possible. Now, what is really essential here is that you want to have the support. I have a lot of tanks behind me. I have a lot of vehicles, a lot of friends, like big tank destroyers, medium tanks, and light tanks. And we are now, facing quite a large opposition. That nice high explosive shell into the ELC even 90's ass. We're gonna hit him again, but this time around it doesn't actually penetrate him, sadly. But yeah, in this position you can see both Burask players are incredibly aggressive, and they're getting into positions that they cannot hold by themselves. Even though they are incredibly good tanks, and these vehicles can cause massive amounts of damage because of their burst potential, they're not very good if they are spotted and out in the open. So you can see the Burask here gets spotted. We are now already at 700 damage. I spot the other Burask guy, I'm able to shoot him, and now I'm able to also engage this LT-432 without the enemy really being able to fight back all of the, in this entire kind of scenario. And this really shows you how important it is that you have the, a good crew that is able to spot anything that is around on the map. You can see somehow we spotted the SC-130PM. I have no idea how that is possible, but we're getting the assistance damage, and that assistance damage is now racking up to be almost as much damage as we have dealt in this moment. Now, keep in mind, World of Tanks, games in World of Tanks are really, really short nowadays, and you need to be there, you need to be active. And when you notice there's the opening where you can actually breach in and do damage and spot, you have to take that chance. If you don't take it, you're not getting your third mark of excellence. So right here you can see I'm moving in, I'm sacrificing my HP a little bit, but I don't care because I need to get the damage. This game is over. This game is over. The enemy team doesn't have any more resilience in them. They're not going to be fighting back. They don't have a chance. And now it's all about the cleanup process. This is a game where it's all about cleaning up. And cleaning up sometimes means that you have to really be in the thick of it. You need to be right there so you can spot these guys and you can get some assistance damage as well. Because you want to shoot them and you also want to get the assistance damage by just seeing these tanks. You're not getting the full assistance because some tanks are spotted by several vehicles. Some tanks are, you're not getting any assistance damage at all because the tanks are right in front of them. But it doesn't matter. Every little bit helps. So combined right now, we're at about 3,000 damage. Sadly, our ammo rack was destroyed, so now we're facing a 122 TM without being able to shoot him. But because we tracked him and we can track him again, we're gonna get the full assistance damage right there. So this catapults us to 4,000 damage combined. And that is really, really big because 4,000 damage combined, that's going to give you like a 0.4% or 0.5% increase. So that means that I'm all of a sudden now looking at 94.9%, and that is the most dangerous number you can have when you are playing World of Tanks and trying to free market tank. Because what happens next is one of the things that most players hate when they're free marking vehicles. Okay, so this is the fourth match, and this is a perfect setup, right? 0.1% that I still need. 0.1%. So if I do 2,400 damage, I'm going to be through. 2,500 damage, and I'm going to have the third mark of excellence. What is going to go wrong? Well, turns out it's the same old story of old times. I'm worried I'm going to screw it up. So I'm going to screw it up. Why am I doing it? Well, it's because I'm greedy. I'm following the tanks in the middle. We're playing Erlenberg, and I realize if I go into the middle, I fight it out with all of the heavy tanks there, I'm going to be able to get all of the damage, and I'm going to be able to do, 2,500 damage, and we're going to get the third mark of excellence, and I'm going to be done with this. But obviously, when you think about it, when you're in the middle, even though you're lighting things up, and everyone is so close by you, even if you have support, there's going to be competition about the damage, and also, as you can see, there are a lot of tanks here. You have to be really, really cautious. You don't want to lose too much HP at the beginning of the match. And now I'm in the thick of it. I cannot get out of here anymore. If I try to run, I'm going to get absolutely demolished. And if I fight here all by myself, I might probably not be able to survive this. But you can see the Skoda T27, he's like panicking, he's like trying to back off. You know, the start of the match is pretty good. We have them in an awkward position. I have tanks on the left and the right of me. I have tanks behind me, so the back is covered. But we lose 2 tanks immediately. We lose a Tiger 2 over here. We lose Object 703. We have Object 252 who is almost dead behind me. I didn't know that at this time. But we have a Super Pershing as well coming in. I thought, like, how cool is that? To be able to get the 3rd Mark of Excellence with another Super Pershing while we're fighting in this area. Well, it turns out the enemy team on the other side is incredibly resilient, and they have set up very, very well. You can see they have all of the HP, they are really aggressive, and they are trying to get the fight to us. So I'm just trying to, do damage to this Skoda T27 and use my armor as efficiently as I can, while at the same time, shooting the tanks on the other side. But you can see this T832 is absolutely on my case. He is going through me like a knife goes through like butter. And now tragedy strikes. I'm all by myself here. The other Super Pershing has actually moved away. And now I'm fighting a Skoda T27. I am fighting a Renegade. I only have 198 HP remaining, or 168, and I get absolutely annihilated by both these guys. The Renegade dies immediately afterwards, yes. The Skoda T27 actually dies as well, but it doesn't matter because we died and we only did 1,473 damage. So at this moment in time, and I thought like, maybe it will be enough to give me 0.1%. Turns out it is not. I lost 0.5% in this match. And that's how crazy it is. When you do not meet the damage that you need to meet, you're going to drop down by 0.5%. If you do 2,500 damage, you will go up by 0.1% or 0.2%. But if you only do 1,400 damage or 0 damage, you're going to go down by 0.5% or even more. So that's the biggest issue you will face when you're trying to free mark a vehicle, because you need to be good over a length of, over a period of several games. You need to have a very good average. And that's how difficult it is. You can have great games, but you're going to have bad games in between. But to be constantly good, consistently good, that is the challenge. And that's why 3 marking tanks is incredibly difficult, especially at higher tiers. But it's so rewarding when you do it, because you have been good consistently for several games, and you were able to do what you've learned, you've mastered the tank, and you really mastered the way of getting the damage. So finally, we're getting to the final game where I was like, I'm gonna get that now. I'm gonna get the 3rd Mark of Excellence. I'm gonna get a great game, and I actually got an awesome game. Final game, and this one is a great game. I'm just gonna say it outright. This is a great game, and really one of the best games I've had in a long time. So, obviously we're playing a Super Pershing. We are on Ghost Town, and you can see tier 8 matchup, full tier 8, a lot of HP running around. And if we play our hands right, or play our cards right, we are going to get the 3rd Mark of Excellence in this match. I'm deciding to play the 1-2 line because in a medium tank, I like to go there. I'm fast enough. I can make a move if I'm flanking them. And there's always a chance for me to actually, do some damage on the tanks that are either at A1 or C1, or over there at D4, D5. Now I'm using a lot of APCR, I'm using a lot of premium shells. Just a quick trigger warning if anyone is triggered by premium shells. I'm using a lot of them because this is the game where I want to have my 3rd Mark of Excellence, and this is the game where I actually got it. You can see our team is piling up in the middle. It's a pretty standard, basic kind of setup for this map. TDs in the back, TDs fighting at G7, and heavy tanks in the middle there. And we have our first target is another Super Pershing, and at this distance, it's quite difficult to actually reliably penetrate a Super Pershing with another Super Pershing because the accuracy on the vehicle is not that great. Shell velocity on the APCR shells is decent enough, but the penetration usually doesn't it doesn't allow you to go through the upper plate of a T26E4, but usually if you hit like the side turret, it will go through. It turns out during the playtest or during playing this vehicle, I've realized a lot that even though you have this armor plate at the front, which gives you like space armor, quite a few people are still able to go right through it. So we put another shot into the T26E4, and finally we have one more chance to actually shoot him, but I think the round falls short. Not entirely sure where it went. It certainly didn't hit a tank in front of him or behind him, because I think the T832 would have spotted him otherwise. And now we're just kind of putting our focus over on the 1 line and the 2 line, because our Iron Arnie is like really aggressively pushing forward, and I'm kind of worried about a crossfire that people from the city will be firing at the Iron Arnie. But it looks like the Bisonte C45 and the HWK30 are both falling back. They're both really worried about this position. So that's why they're falling back to defend from a better position. Now, keep an eye on the HWK30. HWK30 is going to be my main adversary in this matchup. This is a really crazy game. This game has it all. Like, a lot of drama. I'm not trying to sell too much here, but this is really a great game. So right here you can see the Iron Arnie is pushing the Bisonte. He's running into an AMBT that just pulled up out of nowhere. And it's a bit of an awkward scenario because right here, I don't want to go to the position of the Iron Arnie, but he's already that far at the front that he's going to run into a problem with the AMBT. And I get spotted, probably by the HWK30 that has just repositioned over there somewhere. And you can see AMBT knocks out the Iron Arnie. Iron Arnie gets absolutely obliterated, like in really short amount of time. And we now have a shot at a T832. And I always like to shoot at T832s because why the hell not? Why the hell not? It's a T32 basically with a Terminator skin, and yeah, I mean, if people like it, why not? You can see our team has actually pushed a bit into the city, but they have been repelled by the enemy team. But at the same time, we're actually able to, win over the 1-2 line. And at this moment in time, I'm really happy, I'm getting 1,000 assistance damage. I've already done 1,154 damage. It looks like a win. It looks like we're gonna, just roll up the enemy team. We're gonna clean up, and then we're just gonna move on from there. But as you can see, I run into another trap. I've made myself the main target. This is my fault. I somehow penetrate the T26E4, and now I'm just trying to fall back behind this ridgeline. This object 274A gets completely obliterated here. I think he gets knocked down in a second as well. Poor guy, and now things have turned around. It's 6 versus 6, we have knocked out 6 tanks. They have knocked out 6 tanks. Now it's 7, and you can see that there's a lot of there's a lot of trades going on all around the map. So now I'm at 1,564 damage. I'm calculating in my head now. If I lose, if I die, I still have 2,400 damage. That's fine, but I want more, I always want more. I want more damage. I want to be more efficient. I want to be more effective. I want to be faster. So I'm trying to climb up this hill to spot the Semovente CC67, to spot the SU-130 PM as well, and the HWK-30. I'm really worried about the Burgasque, because I don't know where the Burgasque is, but I'm very confident in my abilities up here that I'm going to be able to spot some of them and to do some damage. Turns out, I'm right in my assessment. I'm going to be able to spot the Semovente. I'm going to use my turret armor, and I somehow bounce the SU-130 PM. But I also got hit by the HWK-30 with his heat shell. And that's like the second or the third time he shoots me and does damage to me. And I realized that this HWK-30 is really going to be an annoying little nuisance because I cannot outspot him. He's a light tank. He's always going to be able to outspot me. But in this situation right here, because our team is also closing in, but they are all dying while they're trying to, you know, put the pressure on the enemy team who are like in a really good defensive position, I realized that I'm still able to do damage, but this looks more and more like a loss. This looks like a situation where the enemy team that is defending really, really well is going to be able to knock out all of our tank destroyers. And I'm going to be honest with you, tank destroyer players usually are really, really cautious and they don't move very aggressively. They don't usually they tend to be on the second line, maybe third line of offense or defense. But these tank destroyers on my team are actually really aggressive, and they are paying the price for it, as you can see. We lose both SU-130 PMs. We still have a HPTK TVP, a really important player. Just for a second, you'll notice why. Because this HPTK TVP is actually going to be of some assistance to me. He's going over into the city. And we are trying to, you know, take on this SU-130 PM, and I'm using this bush. This bush is probably, this is a gift. This is a gift for me. In this moment, I'm all thinking about, I don't care about doing like the maximum damage. I want to win this game. I know that if I win this game and I do the damage, I'm gonna get the third mark of excellence, right? So I'm using this bush to my advantage. The Semovente, really difficult tank to pen from the front if you don't have APCR. I managed to put one round through this lower plate. I managed to put one round into his side. And sadly, the third one doesn't go in there. But now I only have 3 APCR shells because I wasted them all because I've been firing APCR all game long. And you can see they still have quite a numbers advantage on us. They have, well, they have 6 tanks. Now they have 5 tanks. So taking on targets that are, you know, easy to kill is really important. So what I do right now is I realize I do not have the advantage here anymore. If I stay up there, I'm going to get flanked by the HWK-30 or other vehicles, and that Semovente is still down there with the SU-130 PM. So what I do right now is our artillery is actually really smart. Our artillery moved towards us when we actually moved over. So there's the HWK-30. Our artillery is in this position. And the SPTK TVP is still alive somehow. So we're now fighting in this corner against 5 enemy vehicles. They have the HP advantage, they have the numbers advantage, and we just have to be really, really cautious with whatever we do. So I spot the HWK-30, and I actually get some assistance damage by the TVP because the SPTK TVP puts 1 into him, making the HWK-30 a one-shot. Now keep in mind, this SWP, this TVP, this player, he's still fighting. Maybe he should have been a bit more cautious, but he's just, you know, still fighting and he's not throwing his life away. But in the end, you know, he gets knocked out. But thankfully, we're able to hit the Semovente over there, doing some damage to him. We hit him again, I'm not sure if we penetrated or not. And the Lorraine 155-51 actually manages to kill the Bourrasque, a very dangerous opponent. So now it's a 4 versus 2. The Lorraine 155-51 is probably going to get knocked out anytime soon. And we are still just trying to hold this corner in place to be able to, you know, knock out one tank after the other. So I put 1 into the SU-130 PM, and since you have armor on your... you know, on your Super Pershing, I'm able to, you know, take quite a bit of a beating. So I'm trying to see if the SU-130 PM is coming out again. I'm just seeing if he's coming out. He's coming out again because he is desperate for damage. He gets knocked out by me, and now it's a 3 versus 1. And this HWK-30 knows exactly that if I come after him, I'm going to kill him. So I move around, I move down, and this is where it's essential that you have turbo. I have the turbo. I know that this HWK-30 is going up and behind, and he's going to expect me to wait here for the Semovente CC67. And I know that if I move up there again and I reposition myself, I'm going to be able to kill him. Now, obviously, with the 50 meters radius. He's gonna spot me. I'm gonna spot him. I see him. I shoot him. I knock him out. And now it's a 2 versus 1. And I know if I can get on the side of the Semovente, I can knock him out. I have this huge rock. This huge rock protects me from all the artillery shells. There's the Semovente. He bounces off the armor of the Super Pershing. I track him, and now it's basically game over for the Semovente because he just doesn't have the ability to turn around in time, and we basically just take care of him, allowing us to get 4,580 damage, 1,199 damage assisted, and at the same time also 7 kills. And in this moment in time, I know the final target is artillery. I'm gonna wait there a little bit so that I disappear from the vision system, right, so that they don't see me anymore. And now I'm thinking about either capping or going after the M4043. Now, the enemy team had a lot of time to actually cap the enemy base, or our base. If they would have capped my base, they would have forced me out of the hiding position, and they could have just shot at me from several directions. But because the HWK-30 on 5 kills wanted to get his top gun, he decided to come and engage me. And it didn't work out. That is a very good player, by the way. I saw his Wargaming rating afterwards, and his rating was like 11,700, and he had like 3 marked all of his tier 10, so yeah, major props for that guy. That was a really good game. But right here you can see I decided to go on cap because I didn't want to chase him. I spot the M4043, and I know in this moment in time, even if he hits me, I have more than enough armor on my vehicle. I'm going to be able to use my med kit, my repair kit. This game is basically done. He even misses. I load my high explosive shell, do 287 damage. And that's why you always carry some high explosive shells, you know, just so it goes a bit faster. And we end up this game with 8 kills, almost 5,000 damage, 1,199 assisted, 1,440 damage bounced, and we get our 3rd mark of excellence. And that's the story how I marked my Super Pershing. Okay, I've been talking a lot. Now I have to edit all of it together, and hopefully you guys did enjoy. And tell me what you think. Did you like this way of me explaining what I'm trying to do and why I've actually done what I've done? Hopefully you guys did enjoy. As always, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have a good one.